Let's explore impact. A wonderful sensation to feel at impact is the right side firing fully and the club face covering the ball. How do you achieve this feel? Let's take a look. The left wrist. It must be flat or slightly arched, or bowed, or if you want to be technical, supinated at step 6. The worst power loss you can experience is the inward collapsing of the left wrist at impact. Common causes of this power loss are a slowing down of the hands through impact, which happens when a player attempts to steer the club head into the back of the ball, or an over-acceleration of the club head in which the hands release too early. In a still frame, you would see that over-acceleration causes the club shaft to line up with the right arm, a major mistake. Both conditions result in a great loss of power. They're not discussed often, but these two swing malfunctions are very common among high handicap golfers. The right wrist. It must be angled at impact, not straight, to match up with the flat left wrist. The angle of the right wrist is one of the very few characteristics that replay the look of the address position. Therefore, the right wrist must not hinge forward. The hands and wrists must work together throughout the swing, and they can't if the right wrist hinges independently. The left arm and club shaft, when viewed from above, should line up with each other. The shaft can't lag too far behind the left arm, nor can it pass the left arm before impact. Both of these conditions indicate serious mistiming of the swing. Weight. It should have transferred to the left leg and is on the left foot more toward the heel. The right heel is approximately 1 to 4 inches off the ground. Some players will feel a push off the right foot through impact. The right knee. It should have fired forward at step 6, up to about your body center line. An effective timing key is to think right knee and hands back to the ball together. The left knee will still have slight flex to it. The legs are spaced apart from one another, rather than having the right leg passing over and catching the left. If this happens, the probable cause is too narrow a stance, too much hip action, or overly fast leg action. There should be space between the legs. They can't be together. This is a clear indication of too much slide. The right elbow. It should be very close to the right hip and still shows a slight bend. The right heel should be ahead of the right toe. I always look closely at footwork. The chin. It should have returned very close to its starting position or is now pointing toward the ball. On wood shots, the head may even be slightly behind where it started. The hips and shoulders. They have maintained some spacing and a degree of separation. In other words, the hips are leading the shoulders, and the shoulders must not catch up to the hips. The body. Your body center should stand up a little bit at impact, and that's because we're using the ground as leverage to get power into the swing. As far as head movement is concerned, some golfers' heads at the time of impact will have moved slightly behind their original address positions. Without question, the head moves during the golf swing. Trying to freeze your head in one location can be a poor idea. It causes tension and inhibits athletic motion. Typically, the head moves forward because the legs don't. When you succeed in locking your head into position throughout the swing, you generally create trouble for yourself in other areas. The head reacts naturally as a result of the motion and the turning of the body. to attempt to restrict it completely is counterproductive. So allow your head its natural motion and to move in a small area. Just keep your eyes focused on the ball until impact, and it's unlikely that your head will move more than it should. Many amateurs have a tendency of swinging the right arm out and away from the body. In effect, the typical high handicapper throws the club at the ball. And it looks something like this. Up to the top, they see the golf ball down here, and they throw the golf club at the ball. Now, the problem with this, the worst problem with this, is that the left wrist breaks down. And when the left wrist breaks down, that adds loft to the golf club. It also makes the bottom of your arc behind the golf ball so that you get a scooping action. And many beginners actually learn to hit the ball this way because their main objective is to get the ball into the air. The problem is when you hit the ball like this, it's the weakest possible way to strike the golf ball. The breakdown of the left wrist is the biggest power leak you can experience as a golfer. So this is something that we must avoid. Because impact occurs in an instant, 4/10,000ths of a second, it may seem odd to devote a great amount of attention to it. Indeed, some students find it difficult to think about impact. Yet, I've found that working back from perfect impact alignments is an excellent teaching technique. Visualizing perfect impact positions and making lots of practice swings that stop at impact helps you feel the sensation of a good impact position. I'd like to show you some drills to help you on your way to achieving this critical position. Drill number 1. I'm going to bring a golf bag out here because I don't have an impact bag. You could use an impact bag, or you can even hit up against a tree. But something to make you feel this resistance here at impact, like you're hitting against something. Once you get there, you can kind of press the shaft a little bit against the bag. We'd feel the right knee kicking, pressure off the inside of the right foot, weight in the left post, and the hands leading the action. That will give you a great feeling of impact. Let me move this out of the way. The second drill is simply to practice open, closed, and square impact alignments. And this will help you feel different positions to produce different shots. For example, go up to the top of your backswing, start down, and have the club come back to square. And when you do that, I'd like your right elbow in front of your right hip. Then come down and have it closed and hold. And you might repeat that a few times if you have trouble hooking the golf ball. Come back and hold that golf club closed. Make sure the hands are leading the club head, but just feel that club face turning over. And then do it the other way. Open. And this will train your muscles to sense hooks and slices and straight shots. The third drill is a drill you can do at your house. Use a wall and put your head right up against the wall. Your hands then will hang just inside the wall. Basically, your eyes almost over the middle of the grip. Now from here, you'll practice going up to the top. Don't be afraid to let that head turn a little bit and move slightly to the right. From the top, start down and make sure you do not allow that head to slide in front of its initial starting position. Another great thing with this drill is you'll feel your hands attacking from the inside. If your hands go out and hit the wall, obviously you've made a bad mistake there. So up to the top, impact. Up to the top, impact. And practice that key head positioning so that you're not sliding in front of the golf ball. Now, I'd also like you to remember these key points about impact. Remember, a flat left wrist or slightly arched left wrist at impact is critical. Never allow that left wrist to be cupped or bent backwards. Big time power leak. At the same time, your right wrist is bent. It has not straightened out. So that straightened right wrist goes with the bent left wrist. Make sure when you come to impact that you practice your footwork and see that your right heel is in front of the right toe. You'll be pushing off the instep here and moving right over. That will make your weight go solidly onto the left leg. It's a big mistake to have that right heel backing up. Also, at impact, make sure that there's some space between your knees. If the right knee is fired too far, the knees are getting too close together, you'll be sliding too much and jumping off your right side way too fast. There you had step 6. To review, address and impact are very different, and this is incredibly important to understand. This is what we're trying to achieve in a good golf swing. Now, let's move on to steps 7 and 8 to finish off the golf swing.